gentlemen, welcome to Out the Mud podcast. Again, coming to you from my little honeycomb hideout here. Um, I'm always going to show love off the rip. It's necessary that, again, I appreciate all the support that you've given me, that you've continued to give me, and all the support that we'll get in the future, any of my future followers. I appreciate y'all in advance for checking in, showing love, liking, subscribing. I always say it. If you haven't, make sure you follow me on all platforms. I always give you the podcast page, and then I give you the personal page. The podcast page, out.the.mud podcast on Instagram, on TikTok, on Spotify, and anywhere that you get your podcast. Make sure you tune in and subscribe and like and follow and comment, just showing love for the content. I try to do these as often as I can. I know I had a little bit of layoff from my previous episode, but I definitely, you'll understand why I'm here tonight. Um, in a minute, and I got to give a shout out to my sister Raina. Episode 18 did a lot of numbers. It was just a great podcast to check in with her. She dropped some gems about her past and got some great feedback. I hope y'all enjoyed that. My personal page, OTM_Coach B. I am the sole proprietor. Of this money movement, of this sleeping giant movement that I always come with y'all at. And again, I just always say that I appreciate all the support. But this podcast tonight is going to be a little bit different from the standpoint of I've been really waiting to talk about this topic since it happened. I haven't really. I was originally going to do it at the point where it happened, but I kind of put the brakes on because I wanted to make sure that I got all the information. B, I listened to a lot of the elders and people that's closer to the situation, people that are more tuned in and tapped in and networking wise than I am, just to hear their perspectives. And I wanted to gauge the different perspectives of different people, analysts, media, other podcasters, because again, before I think with anything, in life, good, bad, or indifferent. Too many times we as people don't we jump to conclusion. And for me, I wanted to, before I did this podcast, take my time and really kind of evaluate everything, put everything in its proper perspective, and not give an emotional response to the situation. I hope y'all see the shirt here. I'm repping Outkast. What I'm saying? One of my favorite groups, artists, Andre 3K and Big Boy. You know what I'm saying? And, I had to get that quick little plug in there. But anyway, so I think for me, being that I do have this platform to be able to come on here and to just kind of express my feelings as is, I wanted to take my time with this one because I think this is going to be one of those kind of situations where everybody has an opinion, and I'm not saying that one opinion is wrong over the other. I agree with one side or the other. This is just me giving you my genuine, thorough thoughts about a situation, and I think we all kind of know what the situation is at hand. People that haven't locked into this and watched this podcast know that it's just not all dealing around sports as much as, whoever's tuned in may think it is. It's not all going to be about, doing interviews and trying to, it is about uplift. I shouldn't say it's not. It is about uplift. When I come on here isolated like I am tonight, in my little honeycomb hideout, I'm just giving you my thorough, my perspective and my opinion on it. Without anybody trying to refute, argue, disagree, the whole 9 yards. This is just my thoughts. And that's why I built a platform. And I encourage anybody else that if you feel like you have a voice and you feel like you want to, express your feelings, then I think you should buy, a camera, a mic, and a laptop and do whatever you got to do and hop on and create a podcast. And you can talk about whatever you want to talk about on your terms. With that being said, John Morant, I thought about this, like I said, when I originally it happened and the news broke. I wanted to just jump on like everybody else and just do a podcast real quick and just go in. But I said, you know what? Let me really assess the situation. Let me kind of more listening, understanding, um, and then create my own opinion about the situation and present it when I have a more thoughtful and purposeful course of action of how I wanted to go about discussing and breaking down the situation with him and what he got going on. And that's why I took my time to really do this podcast. But I felt like tonight, you know, in this particular time, in this particular date, being May 22nd, that I felt like I wanted to do this podcast tonight to talk about, the situation with him. And it's real simple for me. This won't be too long, I promise y'all. I'm just gonna come because I watch analysts. Like I say, I watch analysts, media, people, in the news. Everybody's creating their own narrative and opinion. A lot of them are tapped in. A lot of them are just, guys with, podcasts like, myself creating their own story and how they feel about it. But for me, tonight, I'm going a different route. My route is simple. I'm going to take the route of I'm going to speak to Ja as 80% of society out here, and I'm speaking directly to Ja Morant as a black man that's one of the 80 to 85 percenters out here in America that's consistently dealing with the hardships, the struggles of real life situations, having to work that 9 to 5 and not being able to have that blessing that Ja Morant had in his life up to this point, his young life up to this point. I'm going to take that angle and speak to you from that angle. You know what I mean? Because I'm speaking because like I said, I listen to the analysts, I listen to the, the people in higher that sit in higher seats that are tapped in more on the NBA side, the media side, the sports side, the political side. I'm just coming to you from a young African American man that is the 80 to 85 percenters out here that's trying to get it completely out the mud and still consistently got to get it out the mud and really break it down to you from where I sit. Because when people that I notice, when people, like, without saying the names, I mean the people that are in these higher seats, they come from they speak to that, they come from that, and they talk about their opinion on this, that, and the third, but yet they are financially in a situation to be able to make their own decisions, to do their own things. They got people in line. They got a nice little network behind them, a nice little engine behind them to be able to really kind of talk about these things and create a narrative for themselves. And they got a following, so it makes sense. See, me, I don't have that. And see, what I want to do tonight is I want to tell Ja Morant straight up from somebody on the outside that what I see and where I'm coming from, that if you do come across this, if this gets shared enough that you do come across this, that it hit a little different because it's coming from somebody that really pay attention, but that ain't in nowhere in the seat that you at, that ain't in nowhere in the position that you at, that you've placed yourself in, from a financial, from a generational situation, that's not what's going down over here. And I'm speaking directly to you, Ja, because, I'm going to give you a little bit of the backstory about the people like myself and the other 80 to 85 percenters that pay attention to you, that watch you on a consistent basis, do what you do. And you do it very well. I'm going to preface these comments by saying, like, Ja Morant, you are a generational talent. And that only gets said to a specific set of people. LeBron was a generational talent. Michael Phelps, generational talent. Serena Williams, generational talent. You know what I mean? Tyreek Hill is a generational, like, there's only a certain amount of people that get to wear that. Javante Tank Davis is a generational talent. You are a generational talent. So I preface those comments by saying that the things that you've accomplished in your life up to this point has been well deserved. But understand that there's people on the outside like myself who would literally do anything to just be at least a third of what you are. Not even speaking on athletics. Put athletics to the side. Because what I want to do is I want to tell you a quick little story. And again, I'm speaking to you, Ja. I want to tell you a quick little story about me. Just to kind of put this in its like, let's build like a little bit of a surface around this and what we're doing and what I'm here to do. Ja, you 23 years old. You know what I was doing at 23? At 23 years old, I was just removed from finishing a 4.5 year undergrad program at West Virginia State University, and also fighting my very first DUI. At 23 years old, I made a decision after I got that DUI, after I walked across the stage, that I was going to go and move from West Virginia, where I graduated from, and go moving with my, at the time, ex in Kentucky. Now, look at somebody like me. No disrespect to nobody that lives in Kentucky. Kentucky's a beautiful state. But somebody like me should not be in the state of Kentucky. No disrespect to nobody that's from Kentucky. I lived in Kentucky. It's beautiful, beautiful people, whole 9 yards. But nobody that's from where I'm from should be in the state of Kentucky for nothing, unless you going to school or you doing business. You should not be living in Kentucky. I was in Kentucky, bro. At 23 years old with a DUI. License was done bun. Living off of my ex at the time, because at 23, I was so ashamed of who I was at that point. I was running from real world, real life experiences, just as simple as a DUI. I was running from that, and I was living off my girl at 23. You know what I was doing before 23? I was back and forth living with my pops, single bedroom household, living on an auntie. My auntie had a little side shed in the crib. She had a big crib, and she had this little side house, it was an attached house. If y'all know what I'm talking about, I'm trying to like paint the picture. It's like the main house, then you get the little side house. Me and my pops were sharing a room in that side house. From the time I stepped in high school freshman year to the time I graduated. So we talking from 16 to 20. That was me. And like, I don't make excuses. I don't ever fault anybody. I don't fault my pops. I don't fault my uncles who took me on recruiting trips. I don't fault my pops who, made sure that I was fed every night, that put food on the table and provided what he could. I don't fault none of them people. I don't fault my aunts who, unfortunately had to do double duty because my mom wasn't able physically to be a true mother. So my aunts had to take that they had to take on that responsibility. I don't fault none of them. But this is what I was doing prior to turning 23. Having to get on the public transportation to go from point A to point B and work out, with barely able to figure out how I'm gonna be able to, make it through the week on food because, Pops was in and out of jobs and, having to jump on the public transportation to get to and from school and watching my friends get they L's and, driving around in nice cars, and they got, what I'm saying, the new J's that came out, or they got the new Air Maxes that came out because, from the tri-state, Air Maxes was a thing and still are a thing. I was watching all that around me. Meanwhile, trying to build some sort of athletic profile for myself so that I could be able to find my way to a Division II school, because I wasn't, again, the resources was very limited to be able to have a Division I opportunity. That was me prior to turning 23. Not one time did I ever see or touch anything over $500. The most money I think I probably ever saw up until I turned 20, 22, 23, when I was already in school and got a little refund check, was probably like $50, $75 if I was lucky. And this again is all prior to me turning 23. And I get it. You know, you had your pops and everybody was around you. They saw the talent. They fed into that. You know what I mean? They fed into you, and they was working you. And I see the documentaries of you and your pops and how much he was on you, and he had you in the field and working out and all that other stuff, and that still landed you at Murray State in the OVC, which is the Ohio Valley Conference. For those that don't know, that's a group of 5. Murray State don't get a lot of noise. They don't make a lot of noise. Nobody's really checking for Murray State. By the way, Murray State was in the NCAA. You was playing in the NCAA tournament. You did that. We was watching you do that. But my thing is this is all happening while you got the 85% of us out here that's like, how we gonna make it once we get across the stage? How we gonna figure this thing called life out? How we gonna manage all the things that we got that weren't taught to us, like financial literacy, and being able to invest, and how to really apply for jobs, and how to market yourself, and with social media not being an engine like it is now, the 85% of us was trying to figure that part out, while you were getting the people were patting you on the butt, and people was telling you how great you were, and you was getting all these little deals, and people was looking out for you. And that was before NIL. Oh my God, imagine what you would have been doing if NIL was a thing. But we was watching you. We was over here on this side while you was making your hay in college and working your way to the NBA. We was trying to figure out how to make a hay to continue to pay our car notes, to continue to pay these rents and these mortgages, and how we was going to make it happen after we finished with school. Because I told you again, at 23, I caught my first DUI. At 23, I was running from something. I was running from the fact that I wasn't set from who I was. And it's not me until where I am now that I'm just now showing appreciation for the person that I was. And I'm a month today, May 22nd, June 22nd, I'm a month today from turning 30. And you 23 years old. And it's taken me to January 1 of 2023 to really show and really understand and appreciate that 23-year-old me. And to look at that 23-year-old me and say, bro, you was on some bullshit. But guess what? The fact that you went through that, the fact that you dug yourself in that big of a hole when you overcame that, I salute you, bro. I salute that. But that don't take away from the fact that you was still on some bullshit. And I'm talking to me making minimum wage $12 an hour, living in a 1-bedroom apartment in Richmond, Kentucky at 23. Now we turning 24. And you 23 years old, guess what? You'll be 24 on August 10th. You want to be 30 looking back like, yo, bro, I just tricked off all that money. I did that for a gun, bro. And you got people like me, 30, 35, 40, old heads. We looking at you like, bro, is you serious? Because I can't sit up here and be like, I don't know. Like I can't say that if I had your situation, if I had your money, that I wouldn't, you know, I would I probably would have, you know, done some things, and would have probably tricked off a little bit of it, a little here and there, or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's like I can't speak on being in your shoes. Only thing I can say is that there's the 80 to 85% of us that are looking at you right now and being like, bro, do you not understand? We would die to be in your position right now. Because I wake up every day and I sit up here, I say, I thank the Lord for giving me another opportunity to see another day, to go to work, to get to get my hours in, to try to spend time with the family and do the podcast thing. And I'm just blessed to say I can do that. And I'm just blessed to say that I'm just thankful when I ask, the good Lord, and I thank him for allowing me to be able to just wake up, to be able to have the opportunity to do those things. You wake up and those things is done. You made it. Like, my nigga, you made it. And you got people like me that's over here looking at you, and we over here like, are you serious, bro? Again, 23 years old. I'm in a month, I will be 7 years older than you, bro. And I'm looking at you and I'm like, do you not understand? Like, I would give all this up to have a third of what you got. Like, you don't really understand that shit. I would give up all of this to have a third of what you got. And you getting and you're not even. It'd be one thing if like somebody was doing something behind your back, or they was stealing your assets, or they was, digging in your pockets. But bro, you're finessing your own self out your own blessing. When you got people in this world like myself who pray every day to just be appreciative of the small blessings. And my nigga, you getting finessed out your whole blessing. "23 years old. 23 years old. At 23, I was saying my last goodbyes to my mom. At 23, I was paying $400 in a 1-bedroom apartment in Kentucky. 23 years old, I was on my way to Nashville, Tennessee with $500 in my pocket that my aunt fronted for me, just to go to a coaches convention, to just pray, to have to have an opportunity to get myself out of this situation. And at 23, bro, you are on the verge of finessing yourself out of the biggest blessing of your entire life. And I don't want to hear about, oh, change your circle. It's the people you hang out with. Maybe you gotta go to count. Miss me with all that. It's about you, my nigga. And if you need any motivation, ask the other 80 to 85% of the niggas that's out here that's trying to figure this shit out called life. That wake up every day and it ain't hating. We not hating on you. We saluting you. We praise you because what you doing is you was the lightning rod for the youngins. Cause my uncle, he told me something was real wise a long time ago. He said everything right now is in your front view mirror. You driving in a car, you got the windshield, everything is in that front view mirror. You got the whole world in front of you. My life right now, I'm looking in the rear view. Everything that I'm doing, I'm looking in the rear view. And what he was saying is that it's a lot more in front of me that I can achieve. My uncle in his mid-60s right now. He done lived his life. He done doubled me. But he was saying that I got everything in front of me. I can jump in any lane that I want to jump in. So I'm saying that if I still can say that I'm looking in the rear view, even though that I am peeking over here at this side view mirror, just seeing, what's going on over here. And then I'm looking in this side view mirror. And occasionally I do have to look in that rear view mirror because I got to remind myself, the 23-year-old me, what the fuck I was doing back then to get me to where I'm at now. But the difference between you and me, I never made the same mistake twice. I never made the same mistake twice. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me again, then just pack me up. You finessed yourself twice at 23. And it's people out here like myself that would do anything to have a nugget of what you got. That I'm even to the point of, if I gotta wait, if it don't come when I'm 40, it come when I'm 40. If it come when I'm 50, it come when I'm 50. You got your shit at 23. And like I did this podcast because, and I set it up this way because like people like to compare, right? So people was comparing you to somebody who can, that played pretty much the exact same way, that got theirs out the mud. And I was literally having this conversation with somebody the other day, and he was like, yeah, Ja, he pretty much like AI. He like Allen Iverson, did the same exact thing. That is the most idiotic comparison you can make. It's two different worlds. The difference between you and AI is, my nigga, AI was making a statement. AI broke a barrier. Everybody that was coming in the league was wearing them big ass suits, suited and booted. AI was like, I'm not doing that. I'm going to be myself. Now, yeah, he made mistakes. But what AI did was AI was making a statement. And in that statement, he became a Hall of Famer. What you doing is just the complete opposite. You're finessing yourself out of your blessing over a gun. A gun? People out here getting laid down every day. A gun? You got millions of dollars. You could buy protection for you and your family over a gun. I listen to I'm a YB fan. I got chefs too, but I'm not about to put them on social media. A gun. I'm 7 years older than you, bro. And only thing I'm saying, and like I said, when I said it in the beginning, I'm not gonna be one of these pundits and these medias that is just pumping news to get clickbait and want to provide their own insight. I'm coming to you from somebody that's got the humble beginning and that's still continuously going through that. That's just watching you from the outside. One of the 85 percenters out here that wish that they could have a third of what you got. You finessing yourself out your blessing. And only thing I can tell you from somebody on the outside is that ain't gonna be no sympathy for you if it don't work out in your favor. I'm gonna just tell you that right now. Ain't gonna be no sympathy for you because you did that. Just like I wouldn't want no sympathy for me. I did that. So I just wanted to jump on here, not take too long, get my little 2 cents on the situation. I hope you figure it out though. I really do. I hope you figure it out. I hope you get whatever help you need. And if you get an opportunity to get back in the league, just don't finesse yourself out of blessing. Because again, the 85 to 85 percenters out here, and it's a lot of us. We putting it all, pushing all the chips to the table to get at least a third of what you got. OTM Coach B, I'm out.